This week I want to talk about walking on eggshells, what that actually means, how it feels in the body and what's actually going on. And I'm also going to share with you a Vegus Nerve Reset as well. Welcome to the Mindfuckery podcast, which is FeedSpot's fifth must listen to podcast on emotional abuse. I'm your host Elizabeth, and in here we explore areas others are fear to tread. Through my own personal journey, I know how much this hurts and how confusing life becomes. So many questions, no closure and no real answers. I've been a woundologist for over 20 years. I'm the unintentional author of Finding Lily, the A to Z of emotional abuse and divorce matters. I help you clear past life wounds, ancestral trauma and this life wounding. And as the founder of the Inner Healing Sanctuary, I've created Wound Talking, The Original Wound and Quantum Glow. I'm on a mission to help educate as many people as I can on the effects of trauma on our lives and our children's lives, and healing the wounds of our mothers and our fathers. It stops here, it stops now, it stops with us. So welcome along for the journey of a lifetime. Hello, and as ever, you're very, very welcome. And I just wanted to quickly update, because I've missed 2 weeks podcasts recently. One, I believe, was maybe the middle of October. And then this week, I'm not actually sure where it's placed. I'm actually recording it 5 or 6 days later than I normally record it, purely because of family illness and looking after people. And it was exactly the same in October. Another family member was ill and there was a lot going on and around that time. And by the time I got to recording it, it was more or less the next day that I'd be posting again. So if you're there waiting every week, I do apologise. It is a blip in the system and it isn't something that I like to do today. I've actually got a bit more time on my hands, and what I'm actually going to do is record a couple of additional ones, so in case I ever get to that point where I'm caught up in time and I've had to rush off and help other people, I have got something. As an addition to that, I ended up with a cold, picking up some bugs that were going around that other people had. Thankfully I wasn't as ill as they were. Anyway, that off my chest. I do apologise for if you're waiting for your weekly update. This week I wanted to talk about walking on eggshells. It's a term used to describe the way you behave around an abusive person, being careful not to upset them or to cause a narcissistic rage. It's where you might tiptoe around a person or a situation to protect yourself. It might be to protect family members, children, work colleagues, people around you. You avoid saying something or doing something in order to keep the peace, not wanting to wake that monster. There's something in you that is able to detect, and this is like the energy shifting in a room, the vibration changing. It's like a room going cold or suddenly getting really hot. It's an internal knowing, inner standing, and it might be that you hear a term or a phrase, or it might be that you hear the tone in the abuser's voice and it switches you on and everything is heightened. This is walking on eggshells. Your body goes into hypervigilant mode. It probably is to some degree working within that anyway. It might be the hairs on your arms, it might be something internally, and these are messengers, and it is probably from something you've experienced in the past. It's a memory that's lodged somewhere within your body, and it's these echoes that run through our lives. They're showing us and guiding us. They're used as a way to protect us. It's giving you a memory, reminding you of the person who they are. But with walking on eggshells, this is being in that environment, and it's not having the ability to be honest or truthful, but it's also protecting the people around you as well. And as I said, your body is on alert all the time. It knows phrases, it knows things that are going to upset the abuser, it knows what's going to trigger, and it might be a word or a phrase that somebody says and you think, or your body knows the potential that this could cause. And then you go into fawn. You might might be calming down the situation, changing the subject, moving people out of rooms. You're wanting to show someone something, interrupting what has the potential for chaos, catastrophe. Not only are you protecting yourself, you're protecting those around you. Walking on eggshells is your nervous system on fire. It's fight, flight, fawn, freeze. It's a term that's used to describe a situation, but actually what's going on is an explosion within your body. But it's so much more than that. Your body is going into fight, flight, fawn, freeze. It's picked up on something and it's gone into alert mode, hypervigilance. And that's great for protection. It's been triggered. And not only, as I said, are you protecting yourself, you're probably protecting other people. You might have sat there in a meeting and somebody said something and you've all groaned internally going, oh, don't start this subject. This person's going to be going on for hours about whatever it is. It might have been in the staff room, in the supermarket. It might have been in the canteen at work. It might have been around the dinner table at Christmas or out with friends. And you've got one person that's passionate and you all internally groan when somebody set them off. Walking on eggshells is not only your behaviour, it's actually what happens inside you that's the dangerous part. As I said, you've registered on some level. Words, phrases, it might be feelings. You register that change in atmosphere and you go into protection. And what happens to the body, it exhausts itself when it's firing adrenaline all the time, when it's hypervigilant all the time, when it doesn't get a chance to rest. And stress is actually really good for us when it's in short blasts. It keeps us alive, it keeps us alert. But when you're in that situation all of the time, when you don't get a rest from it, it has detrimental effects to your emotional, to your mental, to your physical health. When I talk about self-care, and I've run a couple of masterclasses on healing from emotional abuse and divorcing emotionally, I talk about things like finding a safe space. And if you're still in that relationship, you can still do that. It could be the bathroom, and it might be the only place that you don't get interrupted, where you can actually physically lock the door and you can put candles in there and you can say that you're hiding smells, or if you've got a shower or a bath, you can use this and create rituals. Your body needs a moment to rest. It needs that. And if you're laying next to your abuser and you're in that space 24 hours, it's horrific and it takes its toll on everything. Your life, your mind, your spirit, emotional, mental, physical well-being. It needs lots of time during the day, whether that's lots of minutes or lots of 5 minutes or lots of 15 minutes, to calm itself down, creating an environment where it feels safe. You're resting better than you're sleeping next to somebody who's abusing you. So although walking on eggshells is a term that describes behaviour, it's so much more. It doesn't even begin to describe what's happening internally. And as I said, I've got this Vegus Nerve Reset that I came across. So the vagus nerve is one of the most important parts of the nervous system when it comes to emotional and physical healing. It's the longest cranial nerve in your body, connecting your brain to your heart, your lungs and your gut. It plays a role in regulating your rest and digest responses. So it's basically helping you keep calm, safe and balanced. For anyone who's experienced emotional abuse or prolonged periods of stress, the vagus nerve can become dysregulated. It keeps the body in a state of fight, flight, fawn, freeze. It makes it hard to relax, to feel safe. And over time, this can develop into symptoms of anxiety, perhaps depression, fatigue, and even physical health problems. So by resetting the vagus nerve, you're helping to calm down your nervous system and you're putting yourself back into a place of balance. And there are various different techniques that you can use. One that I used to teach was you breathe in. I used to teach this with meditation, a lot of meditation. Breathing in, counting to 4, we'd breathe out, counting to 8. The one I want to teach today is sitting, or also you can do this standing. I've even done this in bed with my eyes closed. You move your head towards, or your chin towards your left shoulder, as far as you can go, without forcing it, without hurting yourself. Bring it back to center, and you take your chin out towards your right shoulder. as far as it's allowed to go without hurting yourself. And then you take your hands, keeping your head facing forward, and you weave your fingers together and you put your hands behind your head, and without moving, so you're keeping your head facing forward, you move your eyes towards your left shoulder and you look to the corner of your eyes until you get a response. So you don't move back to the center. They look to the corner of the room, towards your elbow, towards your shoulder, whatever you can see, and the response could be a yawn or a burp or even a fart. And that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for a response. Now, I do this quite often, and literally as soon as I move my eyes over there, I get a response straight away. If you haven't had a response, press pause until you do get one, or you can listen to the instructions and then afterwards try this. As I said, I've done this in bed at night. One night I woke up, I couldn't sleep, but I laid there with my eyes closed doing the same thing. So once we've got our response, we then move our eyes back to center. We then move our eyes in the other direction towards the right, whether that's seeing the elbow, whether you can see the shoulder, and we wait for the response. And again, mine comes quite quickly. We bring our eyes back to center and then unlace our fingers, bring our arms back down, and then you can try again. You can see whether your chin has a further stretch, or you can just tune into your body and see if it feels any differently, whether it feels calmer. As I said, it's important to find safe space. It's important to feel safe, grounding, breathing, being in your body during these times. And it isn't just coming out of the relationship, that it takes a while. All of this, your mind has been set with instructions, it's been reprogrammed, it's been overridden. And when cognitive dissonance fires off, comes in, you don't know what's true, what's not true, what you've been told is a lie, what you've been told is the truth, what you believe is the truth, you were told was a lie, you were told not to listen to people. Now you don't know who to trust. There are so many situations that can deregulate your nervous system. And these tiny little things can be added to a toolbox. As I said, I've done this in bed with my eyes closed. But you could be standing in the queue in a supermarket, grounding. You can do your breathing, your box breathing. You can do that in the supermarket queue. Counting to 3. 1, 2, 3. Holding for 3. Breathing out for 3. You can sit in the car, in a car park, and do it. You can go to the toilet at work and do these simple exercises that help you regulate your nervous system. Nobody understands what happens in these relationships. Nobody understands how manipulative these people are. And you've been keeping all of this a secret because you've been protecting them. For whatever reason, it might be you thought you could save them. They've convinced you that you're the only person that they can live with. They've convinced you that they are the only person that's good for you. And very slowly you need to detangle and regulate your nervous system, perhaps on an hourly basis to start with. I wish I'd known this right at the very beginning, because I could have changed a lot of how I behaved, because I was reacting all of the time. I was going into freeze as well for certain situations. I hope this week has been helpful, and as always, sending you loads and loads of love.